Okay, and we're live. Hello, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much. This is day five, guys. This is day five, and we finally got to day five. It was a struggle coming to this day. Thank you so much for everyone that has been
Your network or mine? Is it your network or mine? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Did you hear me? I said
Yeah,
you should go
I
ahead
said,
to
is it your
introduce yourself.
network
Tell
or
us who
mine?
you are, what you do, how to connect with you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, how do I leave? I joined with my tab, so don't be
I
confused
can
with that.
see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Okay, I said don't be confused that I'm appearing twice. I joined with my iPad, so I feel it would be much more brighter. A minute, please. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you now. You're
Why is it
joining
still?
from like three places or two places.
I've signed one out. I've logged out of one. So I switched from my phone to my iPad. But I've logged out on one, so I don't know. I think one is static now. Okay. But why is it like this?
Okay.
Okay. Shall we? Are you ready?
I'm not sure what the problem is. If it's my network,
I'm not sure either. How about now? How is it now? Okay. Are you there?
Hi, Tune, can you hear me? I don't know if
Yes,
it's my network.
can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me speak?
Mm.
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
No, I can't. You are breaking.
Okay, you know what? Let me sign out and sign in again. Do you understand? Hello. Your microphone is muted. Your microphone is muted. Your microphone is muted.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Your microphone was muted before.
Oh, okay. So I'm joining with like a mic so that I'm more audible. My speaker is not
Oh,
as audible on my laptop.
okay.
Uh, so I think we've wasted about 7 minutes that I would need to like cut out of this video. The
No,
network is
let's
really, really terrible.
don't worry. Let's not rush it. Let's just take our time.
I apologize. I'm so sorry. This network is something else. But anyways, we'll cut out this part. So I was asking you to introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Okay. Can we restart the life again, or you just continue from there?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if I have to start the live again, I have to like recreate another link. Would you want that?
No, let's just
Would
continue
you
from
give me
this.
like a few minutes to do that?
No, let's just continue on this as long it will be edited, so it's just still perfectly okay.
Okay, so what I would do is I would ask you the question again, right? So that it is easy to cut out like the parts that we were not speaking, the part where the network was bad. So it's easier.
Okay, no problem. I'm trying to get
Okay.
my pay, but that has been
You're trying
an
to
issue.
you're trying to get your what?
My tab to stay, but that has been an issue because I'm using my tab, so that's why my camera is not stable. It was staying before. Okay.
Okay. So can I go ahead now?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So thank you so much, Cindy, for joining me. I know it wasn't easy. Everybody that has come here to join me on this journey really has just been so nice, and you've been so kind, really. So before we even get started, before we start talking, how about we start with you introducing yourself, telling us what you do.
Okay. Uh, Good morning to you and the esteemed guest, listeners. Sorry, my name is Olatunde Adewumi. I am a podcaster. I'm as well a business owner, and I am a health and wellness enthusiast. So my focus is majorly mental health. Yeah.
Mm.
I think that does it.
Amazing. I when you said mental health, I would have even brought you on. So on Wednesday I had a conversation with a doctor, and we're just talking about how gender-based violence affects the body, right? And we spoke about psychological as well, right? Which made me really it was so profound. That conversation was like one of the most interesting conversations that I've had in this series. And I'm thinking I should have even brought you on then. But anyways, it's all good. Thank you again once again for joining me. So guys, if you don't know what we are discussing today, this is very, very, very interesting because we're talking about the role of men and boys in preventing gender-based conversation. And I think that Olatunde is like um, the best voice we could have had, right, for this conversation. By the way, he didn't mention, but he has a podcast. So his social media handle is just on the screen. So please let's do well to follow him and see the good work that he is doing. So let's get right into the conversation. I I want to ask a question, and this question has just been in my heart that I would ask this question as an opening question to you. So, and the question is this: when we talk about gender-based violence, right? Why do you think it's important that men are part of the conversation and not just women?
Okay. To start with, let me say that for the conversation you had on Wednesday, I think it is great that you brought a doctor, a medical doctor, right? Because I am not.
Mm,
My interest in mental health comes from my own past experience and my zeal to understand how the brain works and most of the things that goes on in our life that we could not give meaning to, but to understand what exactly is going on in the human brain when these actions or this event unfolds. And that is what drove me into it. And I think along the way, I fell in love with behavioral science. Why do we do? Why do we act the way we do and the way we act? And that is has been so liberating and enlightening in itself. So, to your question about why is it important that men are part of gender-based violence talk? Well, I think because anywhere you go in the society, men are majorly the instigator of gender-based violence. When you find
mm,
10 who instigate gender-based violence, it is proportional to finding about one or two ladies or women that carry it out. So it is important that we bring the perpetrators into the conversation so that they understand that this that they are doing, this is the effect on the victims.
well, that is that is a very interesting conversation. What you said was very interesting, because it's not most times you would hear that men would say, "Oh, I would let me be accountable. We are the major problem in this, right?" So I was having a conversation with a friend. I think 2 weeks or almost 2 weeks ago, right? And he was talking about how when you talk about feminism, you talk about gender-based violence and all these things, right? Women are just always on their path, right? Oh, men, you need to stop this. Oh, you need to do this. And we are always like, you know, talking to ourselves as women, and we are not bringing men into this conversation. And while I hear him, right, I understand where he's coming from. I also was thinking, how do we speak to people who do not want to listen to us? Right. And so that was why it was very important. So all my guests on this series has been women, right? Just talking about how these things affect us in different areas and what we can do. But it was very, very important that I bring a man to have this conversation with me so that I can, at the very least, or we can, at the very least, get perspective into these things and understand, okay, what are your thoughts, right? So it brings me to my next questions, right? Which is healthy masculinity. So we know that, or in Africa, we believe that you being masculine, you have to be, fierce, you have to be not smiling, not, do you get? So it's even crazy because I was sitting down somewhere yesterday, just after work, I was just sitting to relax, and I wasn't even thinking of, it wasn't my intention, but his voice was loud anyway, so everybody in the area could hear what he was saying. And he was talking to somebody on the phone, and it was a guy was talking to someone on the phone. They know they love women like this. They know they love women like this. They know they listen to women. They know they, you get, and I was so upset because I was like, what are you saying? What are you saying? Apparently, the person he was talking to on the phone, right, was probably trying to tell him how much he loves his woman, and he was just saying, no, 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 you're not supposed to do that. So that's why I want to really ask you, right, in your view as Olatule, what does healthy masculinity mean to you?
Okay. Healthy masculinity. Before I express what healthy masculinity means to me, this that you said about what you saw yesterday, let me say a little thing about it. Uh, For the longest of time, no, I think, let me say it this way, that it is important for us to know that when people give us advice, whether the advice is actually about them or about us. For somebody telling another person they know they love woman like that, it is more about him. Can you hear me?
Mm. Yeah,
It is
I can hear you clearly.
it is more about him than about the person is giving advice because of the things that has
Mm.
happened. And most times we only get to see the surface story of an experience that someone has had, and we take it as the whole. And in most cases, we are always wrong. And that is why it is very difficult on the outside to just see a part and then we make conclusion and we judge. So I like to give people benefit of the doubt. In fact, when people I hear things, what I do say most times is I do not know the other story attached to this. Because events don't just unfold based on one scenario. There are backlogs of interactions or activities that might have happened. But nonetheless, what I said is important is that when people give us advice, take for instance someone, or maybe let's say an aunt or a family member that has invested before and they lost their investment. When they are giving you advice as an elderly person, it's better to say that's what they tell you because of their own experience. And it's always good that we are able to filter through. Is this advice this person giving me more about themselves and their own experience or about me? Because there is no way or anywhere in the world or any financial person that will tell you that saving is a good financial decision than investing. However, investing comes with risk. So it becomes important that we're able to filter through. But most times we just take people's advice, not even asking them questions. This advice you are giving me, I do not think it is healthy, but why are you telling me this? Now, when they express their own experience, this is what my woman did to me, this is what my wife did to me, or my ex-girlfriend, then you can watch the pattern. And it can help you when you see that this
Mm.
person is moving in this direction or in this way. It can help you. So rather, what I do is I wouldn't, because I'm on live, I wouldn't deny that I have not advised someone before to not do some certain things to women. But I will give
Mm-hmm.
context. Don't do this. So this person, this is the experience he had in doing this. So I don't just say it on the surface, don't do this. Like while we are growing up, our parents, they never give us reasons not to do something. Don't go there. Why should I not? I've always been
Mm.
some questions. You have to give me reason. It has to make sense in my head. So because of that, I was a rebel. Because if you don't give me any reasonable reason, I'll go ahead and do whatever I want to do. However, I take responsibility however way it pans out. So when I tell someone, I will give reasons. This that you want to do, I don't think you should do it. Too. I've heard someone say that doing this and this and this is what it cost. So that you can take a look at it yourself, assess it, and decide whether you want to do for yourself. Because whichever advice, at the end of the day, it is yours, your own decision to make. So going to what is LD masculinity. Well, I come from in my delving into mental health makes me go into Eastern tradition so much. So I'm not just Eastern tradition. I read wide and far, and I also take lessons and examples from Stoicism. So, but what I want to say on the masculinity now is Eastern tradition. So in the Eastern tradition, there is the concept of yin and yang, which is a Chinese concept. And also in the Hindu tradition, there is a concept of Shiva and Shakti. And what these two concepts says is that masculinity and femininity goes beyond gender based. Every single human, both male and female, must have a balance of the masculine and the feminine energy. So, which means that
Mm.
the masculine energy is the more dominant energy. Like you said, masculinity is being stoic, being disciplined, being in charge, in command. While femininity is a softness. But as human, whether a man or a woman, you have to have a balance of the two. That is when the energies are balanced. The yin and the yang are balanced. So healthy masculinity for me is simply about the balance. Being able to navigate when to be soft, when to be stoic. And I think in my own personal life, I do that to the best of my abilities. And I think the best of my ability is balanced to an extent, maybe not 50 on a 50-50 basis. So sometimes I could be stoic, sometimes I could be soft. I remember
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, or days ago, I had my birthday, and while my employees were speaking about me, so many of them said that on the outside, when they see me, I seem very stoic, but when they move closer to me, they realize that I am very tender and soft-hearted. However, my operations manager told them while she was speaking that the fact that they say that I am friendly and open does not mean that they should not watch their step while you walk close to me. Because regardless of how I might play with you, how much I might have gist with you, what I won't take is disrespect or not doing what you need to do. And while she was saying it, one of the other employees said she's speaking from experience because we had a situation whereby she took some things for granted and I had to query her. So, healthy masculinity to me is a balance of the two energies, both the feminine energy and the masculine energy. I hope that answers your question. Or you want me to bring it down to everyday use?
No, no, I actually like where the conversation is going. So most times, when you hear feminine, like people who are feminine, people think being feminine is one softness. You have to be. I really don't know how you got that. Where we got that from. So as a woman, right, you are most likely expected to be so soft, so what's it called, like very, that's uh, and I really don't know how to express it in words because they put so much energy that, oh, when you see a woman in her essence, right, she's either going out to get things, she's hustling, she's a leader, like, oh, she behaves like a man, she's like a man. And I'm like, who added those, or who gave meaning, right, to those things? Who is saying that, oh, as a woman you cannot be expressive, you cannot be a leader, you cannot, be very active, right? Who gave the meaning to say, oh, being feminine, you have to be dull, you have to be, a bit solemn, not talking, easygoing, always smiling, and all those things. So I really like how you really expressed it. I have heard somebody say, a woman, by the way, she's like, oh, she was the first person I heard about talk about having feminine and masculine energy, and I didn't quite understand at the time, right? I was like, how can somebody have masculine and feminine energy? I didn't really understand what she was trying to say, but she went on to explain that when she is in different spaces, when she's in like different spaces, right? Her energies are very different. Right? If she's working, they have like a project, you see her, she's like in her masculine energy where she's like everything needs to get done, we have to do this and that, that kind of thing. But maybe when she's around her children, she's more motherly, she brings that feminine energy. And I'm like, okay, I don't necessarily agree, right? I don't necessarily agree, but I feel like if it's not in a toxic way, right? Where we're trying to label people to be okay, you have to be feminine, you have to be masculine, you hear, or be a man, and you don't have to cry, you don't have to ask for help. By the time you start putting labels on people, that's where I have a problem with, and I don't have to agree with you, right? I don't have to agree that, oh, we both have the same energies. I don't understand the concept of it, but I feel like you have explained it so well, right? That it makes so much sense. And so I would bring us to the next question. And the next question is, um,
Sorry, before you go into
I think that,
sorry,
sorry, what did
before
you
you
say?
I said before you go into the next question, let me add one or two things to what you just said.
Yes, please.
So I kind of understand the angle you are coming from, and I mean, There is a certain way in which the society expects men to behave, and a certain way the society expects women to behave. But like I said, finding a balance between the two is what does. And I think men do this better than women. So a man now might even be leading a company, an organization, have a lot of people under him. And when he gets to the office, everybody sit ups. But when he gets home, he's a baby to his wife. He's a friend to his children. Some men, I'm not saying all men, but ladies have so much
Mm,
on that identity of the softness alone that even when they get into leadership position, it becomes quite difficult. Do you understand what I'm saying?
mhm,
That it becomes quite difficult. That identity that they wear while they are at home is also what they continue to wear while they are at work. But the balance of the two is the best. And in fact, I have quite a number of female persons whom I learned a lot from. And I think the peak of the example for me is Indra Nooyi. I don't know if you know Indra Nooyi. She is an Indian actually, but she was once the chairman of PepsiCo, one of the biggest companies in the US. And under her,
yeah.
PepsiCo actually moved, and she actually took the company to the next level. But the reason why I like and I learned so much from her life is that she had a balance between work and home. And that is amazing because not so many women do have that. But being a boss at work and being a wife at home, that is the balance of both the masculine and the feminine energy.
Mm, mm. That's that's really interesting because you mentioned something about women not having to balance. I don't quite agree. Why I don't agree is because sometimes men are like the most how would I say it? Men, some female bosses are like I'm getting it. Like they are very focused. They are very
Yes,
we and to be honest, they are the one who is really you know when it's time to work, we are working and we are not, playing. There is no any, oh, I'm a woman and all those kind of stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting to see that we have like different perspectives, and that's the beauty of this conversation, right? So I want to talk about
sorry,
gender
sorry,
norms and expectations.
sorry. I'm sorry that I'm dragging us back, but like I said, let's take our time.
No, 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 no.
So what you said now, I agree with you. However, I want you to see it from a different nuance. The percentage of women like that is very low compared to women who are even at work in leadership position soft.
Mm,
Now, secondly, when you now see women like that, if you watch closely and get to their own, they're exactly like that at home. Large percentage of them. They are stoic at work, they are stoic at home. An example is my mom. She Well, I grew up alone with my mom all through, but my mom was a work person. And thankfully, she was able to get to the peak of her career. She was a nurse and she headed the nursing uh, department of Lautech Teaching Hospital back in Oshogo during her years of service. But at home, she was that person that when she walks home, if you are doing something that you should not be found at, you run away or you hide yourself. And that's how she is at work as well. In fact, they call her Iron Lady. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, most
yeah.
ladies have find it difficult to find the balance of me being soft and me being stoic. But compared to men, you- I'm certain that most of you would have heard conversation about a certain man, and when you see the man with his wife, this is not my boss at work. This is not the person I know. That if he screams at people, the way they will become a baby. So I'm not saying it is all men also, but I'm saying that in my own study and observation, the percentage of men that have been able to find that balance compared to percentage of women that have found that balance is not the same. That's just what I'm saying.
Mm, but that's very interesting because okay, let me ask this question. Would you say that what you're trying to say now is that women who are, according to you, more in their masculine energy find it very hard to be in their feminine energy?
Yes, they find it hard to be in their feminine energy because the moment requirements or livelihood makes them activate that masculine energy aspect of them, it's difficult that they find the balance between two. So they become more masculine than feminine. Do you get what I'm saying? They become more masculine than feminine. And it's not just at work alone, it gets into the home as well. That is in my own observation and from my own personal life, actually.
Okay, so you, and to be honest, I don't think so. And this is not even
Okay?
a gender thing. This is not even a gender thing or what you call. I feel like if we were going to compare things on oh, the energy we bring at home and in the office, it's different. So speaking from a woman's perspective, right, I lead teams, right? I am building something myself. So sometimes you have to be very intentional, right? To be okay, I want to give out this kind of vibe so people can see me seriously. So I'll give you experiences that I've gone through. So I had worked with someone and we had like we were a mix of teams, right? Guys, ladies, just beautiful, beautiful work setting. And the team leader at then was not able to speak to, okay, we were more guys, no, we were more of ladies than the guys, right? We can see clearly that when a lady does something, for instance, when one of us mess up, we didn't get work right, and she's like, no, 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 you have to do this, you have to do that. She's like giving us all bossy, right?
Okay?
But when the guys do something that is not even, that is might even be way worse compared to the mistakes that we made, you can see that most times she would even talk to them through us. She would not go to them, right? And after just speaking and just really understanding where she's coming from, you see that it's almost like a trauma response, right? And so most women that would say things like, I don't care if you are a man, I don't care if you're a woman, as long as I am leading this thing, as long as I am the boss, right? You have to listen to me, right? And they are making sure that they assert, like their voice is heard, their voice is the authority in that space, right? So I think because most men, and I'm not just saying it to be oh what, but it's because of things that I have seen over time. Most men would prefer to listen to another man than to listen to a lady, and that's the honest truth, right? So most times it is very important that you as a woman you want to. It might not even be who you are generally. You might just want to really be all nice and so sweet, but you realize that oh, this person is not listening to me, this person is actually trying to weaken my authority because I am a woman. So in cases like this, I feel like women are more like going for it straight up, right? So I don't think it's a oh, women don't know how to switch off. Of course, I think it's more of a personality thing, right? Some people are just more tough. Some people are more meek. So different the way I behave, my sister does not behave like that, right? There are some instances where I am more stricter, and she's like, you know what, just forget about it. There are some instances where I'm like, is this really a big deal? And she's like, forget about it. So it's more of like a personality thing. But when it comes to you saying I am the boss, you trying to showcase or assert your authority in a space, it has to be very intentional because of the responses your team. It is very important that you learn it, right? It's very
I
very
agree.
important. I have seen so many things that we might not even want to go into that aspect of the discussion at all. But it's really interesting to see, and I think that that's where the sentence or the phrase comes from. A woman in a man's world, right? So I'm going travel, right? Because you have to intentionally, speak louder. Your voice has to be louder than every other person because society has deemed it fit that you are way lesser, your voice is way lesser. So you have to speak louder, like very loud, right? So I think that is my own angle, right? But I mean, you also know where you are coming from, but this is my stance in this. It's not even the, oh, I'm more masculine in the office, and so I'm unable to switch. It is just a condition of the mind that you always have to fight, right? Because nobody is going to listen to you. No man is going to listen to you. I mean, you'll be saying things, so we are saying things really. But that's
So
about
I
it.
agree
I
with
think this
you.
is a really good conversation. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the conversation. I agree with you entirely because, and I think we are basically saying the same thing. It is that
Mhm,
responsibility that pushes some women to
mhm.
become, and when they become more masculine, what I'm saying is they find it difficult to balance when they need to be feminine. So it is that responsibility, that knowing that some people would not want to do as they say because they are women. And that also is when we bring this conversation to the society norm, taking it away from the higher realm spirituality, society. Of course, so many men are of the opinion that women cannot lead them. In fact, we've seen cases of a security saying it can't be a security for a woman, can't be opening gate for a woman. I have your type at all because they just have a orientation and a mindset that a woman is meant to answer to them. And you know this, when we look at it, society is not the only one to blame. Religion also played a part in this. Because
Hey, preach.
when you look at most of the most common religions, they undermine the power of women. In fact, when you go into Christianity,
Preach.
there is an aspect of Christianity called the Gnostic gospel. The Gnostics, they have a belief that Mary Magdalene has a higher mandate than what the canonical Bible make of her. And in fact, that image that is being painted of Mary Magdalene of today even has an history of when and how that became about. So, according to the Gnostic and the Coptic, Mary Magdalene was even closer to Christ than the disciples. She understood some teachings that the disciples do not even understand. And there are references to back that up in the Bible. But just to undermine women, so many things had to change. Society influence on the religion. And it's not just Christianity, it's in every other religion as well. So that's why some men and society and the religion altogether will just feel like a woman cannot be giving me an order. But one thing that we forget and which religion is not really open to is that change is one thing that is constant. That this is done like this today does not mean it must always be like this forever. So I do not
Hey,
support that.
yeah.
Whoever has the capacity, has the intelligence to lead, should lead. You don't just pick a leader because he's a man. No. And that's why I said it that I have quite a number of women that I listen to, I watch, I learn from. Ariana Huffington is there, Maya Angelou is there, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is there. These are wonderful, brilliant women that are doing things that some men cannot even dare to dream of doing. So why not follow them and learn from them?
Mm. I think that, see, you raised a very important point on the church, religion in general, and I think that you are so spot on. In fact, part of this series, I wanted to bring in a female pastor, and maybe a male pastor as well as a female, cleric, Muslim cleric, right? But I just could not, the schedule for everybody was really crazy. But it's a conversation that I would definitely have sometime in the next year. I would definitely have this conversation because it is very important. It is very important that we start talking about it. And you mentioned something about, okay, because it is the way right now people see it as the normal does not mean that it is normal and it has to keep on continuing. It doesn't, right? We can bring ourselves to the higher thinking pattern to say, why is this even normal, right? Very interesting, very interesting. I really love this conversation. So, yes, I want to move on to the next
Please,
question. And it, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Okay, so I really want to move on to the next question, and this is about the common gender norms and expectations, right? So we've been talking about how does this, society said that, and all that. And one of the things I mentioned earlier, oh, you're a man, you don't cry. So what would you say are some of the common gender norms or expectations that are placed on men that can very subtly or quietly contribute to violence or silence around abuse?
Yeah. Okay. So on that, any ideology that makes men think that there are some duties, even in the house, that they are above, are things that breed gender-based violence. For instance, in a house, telling a man, no, you don't have to wash the plate. It is meant for ladies or women or girls to do. No, that's wrong. Or a man should not cook. It is meant for ladies or women to. I feel and I live my life with the belief that there is nothing a man can do that a woman should not be able to do. And there is nothing a woman can do that a man should not be able to do. That is how I live my ideology. Only if your health do not permit you to be able to do it, or you do not have the strength to do it. So let's say, for instance, if you're a lady and you can jack a car to remove the tire, then why should you not do it? If you're a man, why should you not sweep the house? Why should you not sweep the floor? So I'm not now saying that as a married couple that you want to your wife's car needs fixing. Of course, you can do it for her if she you can even do it for her regardless of whether she can do it. But I want to tell you for a fact that there are some ladies that can even do it better than guys. Like my co-founder was saying to us, that was a few weeks ago, that he wanted to wash the storex of his house, and while he wanted to do it together with a friend, they tried to enter it and he could not. And he just went back inside, and his wife was like, ah, what are they trying to do? Have they done it? And they said that they wanted to call someone, they thought they can do it, but it's something that they can't do. He wants to call someone. And she told him, no, there's no need to call. What's the big deal in it? And she just climbed the storage, enter it, and she was the one that did it. Is it a regular thing that you should be doing? No. But if you have the capacity to do it, why not? Of course, at the end, he has to pay her. You understand? So I'm not even taking that away. That aspect is just the, as we would say, wanting to just act like a baby around. Of course, and you have to pay me. You have called someone out from the outside, you will pay them, so you have to pay me. So which creates bond between us, the male and the female. But any task that you are capable of, I don't see a task as this is men dominated or men should do this or women should do this. That is how I live my life. So I was brought up, maybe because we are all boys, two boys. So I was brought up to cook for myself. So I cook and I cook well. I do every chore. In my house, I don't like sweeping per se. So I have someone who comes every weekend to come and do the cleaning of the house for me. Why should I have to stress her when I can outsource as well? That does not mean that once in a while she does not decide that okay, she wants to do some light cleaning. But when we want to do deep cleaning, there's someone that comes every weekend to do the cleaning. So I cook. So I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, yes. I think that you raised some interesting points, right? So one of the things that I see about what if I just see somebody saying something like, "Oh, and you're the girl, watch the kids," and like, "Oh, you are raising this boy wrong," because there are no gender roles, right? There are no gender roles. In fact, and I keep on saying this thing, you are saying a woman's role is in the kitchen, she's supposed to cook. By the way, statistics show that the best chefs in the world are men, anyways. So what are you saying? What are you saying? So all these things, I feel like we keep on just, we keep on raising men wrongly, like boys wrongly, and these boys grow up to be like a very terrible men. And you can just see that uh, when you look at men right now in the society, you just see that, oh, these people, you see a man, for instance, maybe on Twitter, online, and you see what he's typing, and you're like, oh, this person is just going to raise a dysfunctional family. There is no, you don't need a prophet to tell you anything about this thing because what are you saying? You would raise your boy child to be like you, and it keeps on moving. It keeps on moving from generation to generation. So one of the things that we discussed with one of my guests, Dr. Joy, is how these patterns are. We are recycling them. We are recycling them from generation to generation, and nobody's stopping to say, "Hey, this is wrong. Let's not do this. Let's change." Like we need to actually uh, sit tight, and cause a change. And that's why this discussion is not it's not meant for some set of people. It's not meant for feminists. It's not meant for men that are weak. It's not meant for it is meant for everybody. It is a societal disease that we need to kill because my children will grow up in this society. I am in this society. That is the main reason why my voice must be heard and I must speak up. So that brings me into the next question about responsibility and accountability, right? So when there's a case of gender-based violence, you see that most times when you see these things online, you are like you hear a lot of ladies talking about these things, are like, oh, this is so wrong. Ah, this man is this. Women are actually outside. We are talking. We are talking about how this is evil, this is wicked, but we don't get to hear men speak, right? So men do speak, but we don't hear their voice as loud enough, right? So I want to ask, what responsibility do you think men have, right? Even if they are not the ones committing the abuse, what responsibility do men have?
Sorry, if I get your question
Hi,
right,
Tony, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you. So if I get your question right, are you asking about the responsibility that men have in adding their voice to gender-based violence?
Yes.
Okay. So, well, I I do not think that men are not lending their voice, but I feel more than lending voice, it is carrying out the action because all of these
Mm,
starts from the home. For me for one, would not you wouldn't see me online. I'd say something about okay, gender-based violence has happened, and that man is evil. He should be castrated, and he should not even live amongst human, or calling it out, But of course, I'm saying things, and I'm using it as a lens into my own life. What patterns of these do I have? How do I make sure that I don't fall into this pit hole as well? So Men do have a role in this to speak out. But what I'm saying is that it is not all men that you will see go public on social media and also speak out. And some men, a lot of men condone it actually. They condone this actually. But I think more than speaking, it's about carrying it out as an action in the workplace and even at home. I don't think I can be cool that in my workspace I will employ a guy and will say because the operations manager is a woman, I can't be taking order from her. You have to leave. You will have to leave. So carrying it out as an action goes far more than just speaking about it. Because actions they say speak louder than voice. Because so many people have act it that they say something that they don't even mean. But I believe more in action than even in actual saying. So I think why women are, and another thing to it is, women have, in the society today, it has gotten to a point where women have taken it as there's this victim mindset. Like the brain is even always scanning to see, okay, what else has gone wrong? Where has a woman been violated? And immediately you want to amplify it. Yes, that's what we are saying. Men are this, men are that. And you even generalize it. All men are this, all men are that. I don't even have problems with that because I am not all men and I'm different. So regardless of whatever anybody says, I don't even have any issue with it. It's your own perspective, and obviously maybe because of the men you've met or you have in your life. I don't want to believe that most of them, their dad is like that anyways. I don't want to believe their dad is like that. Of course, some of them. But I think a good number of them, their dad is not like that. But based on their experience with a boyfriend or of such, or maybe an uncle, and it has created so much hatred and trauma in them. All men are evil, all men are this, all men are that. And I'm just looking at it from the angle of me. Would I go online and start getting into it? No, not all men are like that. No, I wouldn't do that. What I would just do is making sure within myself that, in fact, whenever I hear a man beating a woman, I always take some moment to sit back and reflect on it. Can I ever find myself in this situation? I live by the rule of never say never. But I always put it at the back of my mind that even if I will get into an argument and it's so heated with a woman, I would rather just take a walk out of the house. And I've never in my life ever raised my hand, not even to my woman, whenever we have argument. I might just excuse myself in that space, distance myself, and keep to myself for that moment, process everything again. But will I say that I can never in my life put my hands on a woman? I can never say that because this, well, for me personally, life always has a way of humbling me in different situations. But it's just one thing I feel that it's I would dislike and hate myself so much if I ever raise my hand. Not even hit a woman, but raise my hand. I would dislike myself so much because these are things I frown against. That no matter what, either from a man or a woman, it should never get violent. Because I think I had a session with somebody about a month ago, and what led to him actually having laying his hand on his woman was the woman was, what women do as well. Oh, yeah, beat me. Do like your other men. You are not a man enough. Show that you are a man. Beat me. All of this. It could be, what exactly do women want to get from it? That you get to the point whereby you are even the one that is, taunting the man. Beat me. You are not a man. I'll be sure that you are a man. Beat me. So when I was hearing all of those, I started to ask myself, what exactly do women want? Because you know that the moment he lays a hand on you, it's an issue already. Whatever is the cause of the fight, whatever leads to the argument is no longer the bone of contention. But the fact that as a man, you lay your hand on a woman. So while I was having the session with the person, I was asking myself, if I ever get into this position, the best thing you can do is just walk out and leave the house, even if it is leaving the house for 2 or 3 days, just to express that I am not okay with this and I will not be pushed into this situation. So more than voicing, I feel action is what matters the most. And women have a whole lot to do. because, of course, men still are the head of the house, and what we instill in the younger ones, it starts from the house.
Mm. I hear you. And I agree, right? Certain extent, right? I agree with you. But most times when we say things like, "Oh, I the parts that I agree with you on," let me even be clear on that, is when you were talking about, okay, I might not come out online to say, "Oh, this is wrong," right? But I'll check myself. I'm asking myself very clearly, right? In what ways is this thing coming out? And I'm checking, putting myself on that check. That is fantastic, by the way. But another thing, why we talk about you coming out online to say, oh, putting your voice, lending your voice, it's not just because of the sake of it, right? So I think I didn't mention to you, but this year theme for the campaign 16 Days of Activism by UN Women, it is the theme is Unite to End Digital Violence, right? So you notice that sometimes, right, most violence are online, right? We are always on social media. Go check Twitter, go check Instagram, right? You will see a lot of comments, a lot of hate comments, and that is not only physical violence, right? That we have different forms of violence. So if we are not coming online where most people are, right? Our lives, major part of our lives are online. If we're not coming online to say, "Oh, I do not stand for this. This is something that I do not stand for," then the change, right, would start with us, right? But it's not going to be fast enough because the people who we are trying to reach, they are online. So if for instance we have this conversation now and you said so many interesting things, right? And somebody who just maybe finished assaulting his wife, right, or assaulting somebody else comes across this video, and by some chance they feel remorseful. It is a it is something that media has done. So media has like a big role to play, and that's why from the beginning of the series, the first person I brought on was to talk about media. It was very intentional because media is one of the big ways where we can our advocacy start from, because everybody is online. So it's really great that I am checking myself and I'm saying, "Oh, okay, you are becoming out of control, right? You need to watch it, right?" It is another place to say, "I mean, this thing is bad, and I'm going to say it is bad regardless." So, and that's the reason why I feel like, oh, in that aspect, men are not doing enough. We are not hearing the voices, right? So, silence also means support in a way. So, if you cannot come outside online to say, "Nah, that man needs to be checked. This person has done this, and this thing is bad," we don't know your mind. It's as
Okay,
simple as that. That
so
that's
I get,
that is how I feel.
yeah, I get you. I don't agree with the fact that silence means support. I think we've had it wrong. So what I'm trying to say is there was this issue about this particular girl. I didn't really follow it much, but of course I saw it. Who was molested by father and brother, I think. And there was this campaign for justice for her. On
Mm-hmm.
social media, I never dropped any comment or anything as to it. Does that mean I'm supporting it? No. So what I'm saying is the people that penetrate this, even though they're on social media, they come from some homes, right? And even if these actions are not learned from the home, if they are peer pressured, the home is still the foundation and has a whole lot to do. So I'm not against voicing about it. That does not mean I will see a man that will go online and say this is bad, this person needs to be castrated or something, and I will feel like they are doing anything bad. No opinion. But I'm just saying that
Mm.
it's not every person that is so opinionated, especially when it comes to social media, feel the need to drop their voice. This that we are doing, I am lending my voice. But will I go on Twitter or Instagram and see situations like that? I don't even allow myself be consumed by those. So when I see things like that, they are not things that I spend my time on to want to, okay, what is it that is happening? So I just see it on the surface, and because at the end of the day, this does not in any way add directly to my life, which is the paramount thing that I'm more concerned about. So whenever I'm even on social media, the major thing I'm doing is how can I learn? How can I grow? That is majorly what I'm doing on social media. Hardly is it about, okay, I want to relax, I just want to, cool off, watch some comedy or what have we. So it is in the same way that all these that happened in Israel, Palestine, all these that happened between um, Iraq and America, you wouldn't see me online say anything about those as well. I don't know if you get the angle I'm coming from. But what I'm saying is that those people that are
Yeah.
perpetrating it, they come from some homes. And so many people have act this idea of they can say something that they don't even mean. I've met quite a number of them. Me, if my inner world and my outer world don't align, I can't get myself. So I can't be feeling angry with you, and I will come online and I will say, Mary is such a wonderful person. Mary is, and some people have had it, and I'll just look at them, with what you are going. So I live with authenticity. That is how I live with. But not everybody does live with authenticity. So you will see some people come online, still add their voice. Of course, it does something because it's adding voice to it. Imagine you are the only one. There's violence now, and you are the only one that goes online to say this is bad. But when hundreds of people go online to say this is bad, it adds more voice to it and it gives it more credibility. However, not everyone would find it very comfortable to go online, type and drop. This is going to air on YouTube. I'm saying it, I do not support it. Am I afraid to say it? No. But am I comfortable that I'm saying something violence and I'm going there to read, okay, what really does happen? What happened about it? What is really the issue? And then saying, no, what this man has done is not good. Men like this should be eradicated from society. No, I wouldn't do that. I'm talking from my own angle. But do I support it? No. In fact, there's this particular guy on Instagram, Shola also, is toxic masculinity. I don't follow him, but I know a number of my friends that follow him. And don't do this for women, don't sing for women, don't do this, this, and this. My definition of sin is to me what I feel is simping for a woman. I might have a woman around me now who has been useful to me, and I decide to, okay, let me give her something. You hear it, it is simping. Why are you simping for a woman? And women do not deserve that. I define what is simping to me. So, but whenever I now come online to now run to you, and that woman that I did this and this for, and she did this and this, and you can now call me a simp. But when I'm doing it, I don't think anybody has the right to say what I'm doing is simping. That is what I'm saying.
Mm, mm.
Like the issue of one guy,
Very,
that
very.
was, you said?
No, please go ahead.
Like the issue of one guy, maybe, I think maybe that was last year or so. I saw a review also. A guy that said there was a particular lady he was dating. When the lady first came to greet him, he transferred 500K or something. He bought maybe money or house or whatever for anybody or whatever. So my own stance on it is what you know that you can't do for free, don't bother to do it. What you know you can't take your eyes off, don't even bother to do it. So even guys like that, I have issues with them. You know everything you are doing is transactional. Why do it to start with? I believe that if you really like someone, you do it voluntarily, willingly, because it makes you happy, not transaction. Okay, I got you this phone when you said you are no longer doing, I'm going to get the phone back. No, that's transaction. And that's not love from the get-go. So, but that also, you won't see me online saying some people just don't find that much of comfort. Typing online of a thing. But more importantly is within ourselves and our society. Those people who penetrate this, they come from a home, they come from a group, they come from a society. And as you are saying it online, Twitter has even X has gotten to a point whereby when an issue happens, there is this toxic masculinity and toxic feminism. and it's always a battle between both angles. And you don't have time for those, anyways. But that is where we are pushing it to now. And the more some people are adding voice to it, that this is not good, men should not do this. You will see some men that will also add their own voice. That is how men should do. Is that what we want to achieve? So rather than that, in our own little community, and how do we impact positive change? The action is what matters to me the most.
Mm. Very interesting thing. A very, very interesting thing. I think I'm loving this conversation a little bit too much. So you talked about just being online might not be the best way to you. Talking about these things, you talked about checking yourself. What other practical way, right? Do you think men can step in safely when they see harmful behavior like this?
Okay, so ways to step into it is to intervene. So this also happens around us, not just online, right? And the moment it happens around
Mm,
us, we
yeah.
just don't, but we intervene. Try to get to call it out when we need to call it out, whether it is from your brother, even a friend. Call it out. This that you have done is a gutter behavior. Call it out to them. On no reason or no occasion should it ever warrant that you would raise your hand to a woman. And not just a man to a woman, even women to man. Even me as a man, I would not raise my hand. So when I see a woman, no matter how beautiful you are, and I see signs of violence in you, I'm off. Even as a woman, I'm off. If I see sign of violence in you, I am off. So we call it out, even in our environment, in the home. Like I said, these men that we see online that perpetrate this, they come from a certain home. And let's not be deceived that it is a modernization thing. This has always been in existence. The only thing now is that we have the social media now to
Oh,
amplify. That's the only thing.
very true.
Because how if something is happening in Abuja, I'm in Ilori, something is happening in Abuja. Some 20 years ago, how do I know? Only if news report it, I hear it on radio or I read it in newspaper. How many of it are being reported? But today it's very easy. A woman just take a phone. Hey, my husband is beating me. Oh. My husband is beating me. Oh. That's how he used to do. He has started again. Oh. In the twinkle of an eye, it's all over the country. Everybody can see it. It's not new. It has always been. But these people are coming from a home. And there are some homes that support it, that are root for it. In fact, there are some
Mm.
homes that when gender-based violence happens, they would only pitch the blame on the woman. Your husband would not have, he loves you, he wouldn't have beaten you if not that you have done something. So that's what I'm saying, that
Eh,
in our immediate environment, with the children we are raising, the people we are mentoring, the people we lead at our workspace, their interaction with other gender, what is our part in it? To me, that is a greater impact than just speaking, because those are not just speaking. People watch us, they see how you also act to the opposite gender. So rather than, okay, I could be somebody who is very violent and toxic, and I go online and I just type, it's not good to beat women, but in my own house, I beat women. There are people like that. But imagine somebody doing it beside me and say, it's not good to beat women. But you two, you beat women now because they see me, they know me. That impact radiates way further than just speaking, because these are people that also know you and they can see you as a mirror. Okay, if you are saying this, you are not guilty of it, and I could listen to you. Have you ever been in a situation where somebody's telling you something and like you're so rich coming from you? You are not the kind of person that this should even be coming from, because I've checked your life. You are also guilty of what you are saying. So how do you want me to listen to you? That's hypocrisy. And so many people online are very hypocritical.
mhm, mm, mm. A very beautiful conversation. I'm mindful of the time. We are way past your class, by the way. But I have like about two questions, and I had a
Let's
long list of questions for you because I really wanted us to, really sit and dive deep into this matter because it is a very serious issue. Right? But you have touched different angles that are really interesting, right? It's just like we were thinking about it. One of the questions I wanted to ask is how should men respond? And you talked about how if you see a woman and you can see like, oh, this person is clearly going through violence rather. It's not a matter of debate. It's something that you're like, oh, I'm signing up for this. Well, so I think it's very important that men begin to have that orientation because, and beyond that, I think I have also seen another, or some men that have said things to me like, oh, I want to help, but I don't want people to see me as I'm being, it's a show, I'm performing, right? So what would you say genuine allyship, like I'm an ally, right? What does that mean to you?
Sorry, come again on the question.
Okay, so I'm saying that some men are saying that, oh, if I clearly see a woman that she's being abused, right? Or I know a friend, I know a church member, I know somebody, even if my neighbor, right? But I want to walk up to this person and say, as a man, you should not be doing this thing. But I don't know, it just feels like it's just, I don't know how to go about it, right? I have seen men say that to me. So what would you say those those kind of people can do? What would you say they should do in situations like that?
Okay, so for me, it's very simple. Leave the work.
Mm,
When you leave it, it's very easy to speak about it to people. But when you don't leave it, even you to go up and walk up to people and say becomes difficult. So the problem we do have is that so many people, the problem we do have is for so many people, they tend to say what they are not. It's very easy. I think Paul also said it. It's very easy to live in the way we say. It is very difficult. But that is why we are humans and we can. Paul said it that do
mm,
what I say, not what I do. Because the flesh is weak. So it's very easy to say than to do. But if we are able to do, we wouldn't even find it difficult to say. Because when we walk up to people to say to them, they know that we are coming to say it to them from authenticity, from the values. And no matter who, they would listen to us. So it's more about our stand. If you are somebody whom people see you as a useless person, or let me not even say useless, that is too broad. Let me say, if you are someone whom people see you as, you are simply just a party person, kind of, carry girls around. That's how they
mm,
see you, even in society, even in your community, in your area. It's very difficult to
mm,
ever tell anybody to do something right. Because even you, have you been found wanting, not in that, but in general, is your life emulatable? But you are somebody who is highly respected because, okay, this person, the way they does their thing, the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, the way they go about, they are respectful. When you speak to them about something that you have seen that is not so good, people will listen. So it's more about living the work. Or do I need to expatiate more? Hello, are you there? Hello.
I can hear you clearly.
So I said, do I need to expatiate more?
I think that I've just been listening and I'm like, that is very true, right? Most times you want to talk about this thing, but your life is not. People can't listen to you, right? People can't listen to you, so it's very important that before you even start talking about something, right, you are also I'm intentionally, improving myself because, like you mentioned, if people don't see you that you respect women, you are always with different women, and I mean, what do you want to say to those people? How will they listen to you? So I think that you are absolutely right. All right. So I have just two more questions for you, and we'll close it. And these questions are, I just want to really hear your thoughts, right? Just share. It's almost like a reflection. If you were to, if you say, if you were to record a message, for instance, something that you want men to take away from this conversation, what would it be?
Okay, simply to say that no, for no reason should a man ever abuse a woman. In fact, it relegates you as a man. Being able to have a self control of yourself, and even when you are angry, is what makes you outstanding as a man. Not your impulses, but that self control. That you could even be angry and you are still able to control yourself. There is no justifiable reason that a man should ever raise his hand on a woman, or a boy should ever raise his hand on a girl. And when we see any of those, we should call it out. It is not a sign of it is not a sign of control or a sign of power dynamics. No. What this does is it breaks people and it leads to trauma. But a man who is able to control his anger, control himself, is the best of men.
Mm, very powerful. A man who is able to control his anger uh, is the best, right? And I think, let me just even say it to everybody that is watching, as a human being, as a person, right? You would go far in life if you know how to put your emotions in check and control your anger. It is very, very key. So, the last question I have for you, Anthony, is, if men truly show up as allies, right? What kind of communities do you envision we could build for women and girls?
Well, the honest truth is that waiting for a society where there will be no gender based violence is utopia, and we have to come to the reality. However, we can do our part, no matter how little, to ensure that it is reduced to the barest minimum as best as we can. I do tell people that, or I like when I had the session that I had sometimes ago with the client, what I told the client is, even if your woman beats you, don't ever raise your hand. Call her parents, call your parents or people who are concerned. This is what happened though. She raised her hand to beat me and see what happens. Even her herself would hate or dislike herself that you never retaliated. So now, but then nonetheless, you will see some people in this society that will tell you that a woman is now beating you, you are not a man. A long time ago, I have made peace with thoughts like you are not a man, you are a sissy, you are this and this. A very quick one. I'm a huge Korean fan. I watch Korean movies a lot. And I get a whole lot of backlash from even my friends, guys. How are we watching a Korean movie? Are you a woman? Are you this? I'm okay. Think whatever you want. Does not in any way affect or change who I am. Even from my very close friends, it does not affect or change who I am. So if I ever get this situation whereby my woman hits me,
Exactly.
and I would, my reaction, or I would never want that my reaction, I would never want that I would react. I would want that I respond. And my response would never be hitting her back,
Mm,
just holding myself back. That would be my response. So let the society or people tell me, you are not a man, a woman is now beating you. It does not define me in any way. But I want to preserve my own value and my own dignity as a man. That's what does matter to me.
mhm. Wow, very beautiful, very beautiful. Um, like, very beautiful. Um, You mentioned something about Korean movies, and I know you just said that as a joke for a passing, but this is something that people take as serious. Like as things as minute as this is what people take up to be like, oh, you are not manly enough. So I have a friend that used to love Korean movies. He's a guy by the way. He's the one who's always telling me about, oh, have you watched this one? Have you watched that one? And he didn't like it before then. He was not a fan. He loved Korean movies and he was always giving me Korean movies. Oh, you need to watch this one. This one has action. What's it called and that. And but all of a sudden, my friend started saying, "No, I can't watch Korean movies. So am I a girl? Am I a lady? No. I can't watch Korean movies." So. And he's now watching football, and I know that you don't like this thing, but you are just trying to pretend for the sake of it, just to show that you are a man. I mean, come on, we can do better. We
It's not easy. It's not easy to be at the back and
can.
backlash of.
Whatever you like, dislike.
So it's
What
not
did you
easy to.
say?
I said it's not easy to be at the backlash of it. To be honest, so I know what I go through. In fact,
Mm,
real facts. I know so many men that watches Korean movie, but on the outside, people will really know that they watch Korean movie. But because I'm a man, they can speak to me, ask me about okay, which movie should I watch? Can you recommend one Korean movie for me to watch? But on the outside, you will
mm.
never know. Me, I'm very vocal about it. In fact, the moment I see anything Korean like this, I'm light up. Oh, I'm excited. So why should I? This is who I am. This is what I like. This is what I love. So why hide away from it because of the society? No, I wouldn't.
So, like this conversation. Yeah, can you hear me now? I think my
Yes, I
network
can
went
hear you
off.
now.
Okay. So I said that this is a very interesting conversation. I am so glad that we got to talk about these things, and I learned so much. It was just great to hear you speak, hear your thought process, your perspective. Guys, please go follow Olatunde and overwhelm him with my thanks. Thank you so much. I know that this was a big sacrifice. I know it's a class by 11 and this is 12 already. So thank you so much. Please just follow him on Instagram. His handle is this is KBJ. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yes, you
Okay.
got it right.
So his handle is at this is KBJ. Please let's go follow him. Let's send him. So let's check it out. Do you want to talk about your podcast real quick?
You said?
I said, do you want to talk about your podcast really quick?
Yes. My podcast is on wellness and it is the KBJ podcast. Though it's been on hold for quite some months now because I was trying to move into content creation on wellness as well. And juggling it together with my responsibility at work has been quite a lot to be able to do the three all together. So that's why I put it on hold. But very soon the podcast will be back. And the whole essence of the podcast is to have conversations with regular people who are doing amazingly well in their field. Because we often always think that the people we see on the news, in the media, that are achieved, I achieved, are the ones that could, they are special beings. And we regular people cannot achieve great things like those. So I like to have conversations with people within my space that are doing very well. They might not be popular, but they are doing excellently well in their field. And also solo episodes about mental health, nutrition, sleep, stress, and so on. So that is what the podcast is about, the KBJ podcast. And you can find it on all podcasts or either Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast.
Interesting, guys. Please go check it out. Thank you so much, Latini. Like, this was an honor. Thank you so much. I'll be your DM after this. Thank you, really. Guys, this conversation, and this is the end of the mini series. Thank you so much for staying with me. I know we've had a lot of back and forth with network, and a whole lot of things have happened, right? I'm sure you guys are expecting the videos already, but we'll get right into it, editing, and we'll put it out as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Bye. See you guys.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Bye. Bye.